Hi, I'm Miss Mackey, and we are going to go ahead and review dividing fractions by using common denominators as well as bar models, just like we did in the notes at the beginning of class through the mini lesson. How this is going to work is you should be sitting with your computer and continuing to take practice problems down on your note guide. On your note guide, there'll be times where I'll go ahead and ask you to hit pause, and at that time, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to complete a task. Please complete your task and hit spacebar to go ahead and resume the video. The first thing I need you to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and look at common denominators. To go ahead and use a common denominator, the first problem is 3/4 divided by 1/2. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to hit the space bar to pause to find out what is the common denominator of fourths and halves and create two fractions that represent the same amount. One is 3/4, one is 1/2 using your new denominator. When you're done with that, hit pause again to resume. Hopefully you came up with the answer of fourths. Eighths is not wrong, it will get you the same answer. So I'm going to rewrite this. 3/4 is the same as 3/4. 1/2 is the same as 2/4. What I'm going to ask you to do now is I'd like you to go ahead and hit the space bar to pause to go ahead and rewrite this fraction that are being divided into a single fraction that also represents division. Go ahead and do that now. This problem is asking how many 2/4 fit into 3/4. Well, that's the same thing as asking how many 3 divided by 2. So I could simply write 3/2. That's not in simplest form, so I'm going to go ahead and change it to a mixed number. 2 goes into 3 one time with 1/2 left over. All right, let's go ahead and try another one. The next one I want you to go ahead and try is the fraction 5/8 divided by 3/4. Hit the space bar to create an equivalent fraction using your new denominator. Okay, some of you may have picked 24, some of you may have picked 32, some of you may have picked 16. 8's the smallest one. Yours will work. I'm just going to pick 8. If I were to rewrite this problem using a fraction to represent division, I can go ahead and write it here. This problem is asking how many 6/8 fit into 5/8. Hit pause, write what fraction you're going to write to represent 6/8 as going into 5/8. The fraction you should have written is 5 divided by 6. 5 divided by 6 can't be simplified anymore, so you're actually done with that problem. The last one that I'm going to ask you to try all by yourself is the fraction 5/7 divided by 2/3. Go ahead and hit the space bar. I'd like you to find common denominator, and I'd like you to write the fraction that represents what 5/7 divided by 2/3 means and simplify it. Your new denominator hopefully should have been 21. So I'm going to rewrite this as 15/21 divided by 14/21. I rewrite my fraction as 15 divided by 14, which is the same as 1 and 1/14. And this is common denominators for division. Let's move on to bar models. Bar models are very easy to go ahead and do if you have the same denominator. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple different ones. The first one we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to represent 3/4 divided by 1/2. I want you to hit the pause by hit pause by the space bar. I want you to show me a bar that represents 3/4 and underneath it a bar that represents 1/2. Do so now. Hopefully yours looks like this. 1, 2, 3/4, and underneath it I have a half. The question is asking how many halves fit into my 3/4. How many halves fit in? Go ahead and hit the space bar and write how many you think fit in. All right, if you notice, 1 fits in, and I don't have a whole one, I have a half. So my answer is 1 1/2. All right, let's try a second one. The second one ends up being, let's say, 5/6 divided by 1/3. Okay, hit pause, draw your 5/6, draw your 1/3. Go to work. As I'm working this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to know how many thirds fit in there. Okay. So 1/3, 2/3, and I end up having 1 fits in, it fits in 2 times. What's left over? If I were to have 2, that would have worked. I don't, I only have a half left. Last one. This one's more difficult because you need actually to redraw it with the common denominator. So this is 3/4 divided by 1/5. Pause the video. I want you to just draw a bar model for 3/4 and a bar model for 1/5. This is what it should have looked like. This is very difficult to go ahead and decide because you can't figure out because the lines don't line up. We're going to need to go ahead and create it, change the model a little bit so that it's easier for the numbers to line up. To do that, I need to go ahead and create 20ths as my common denominator. So I want you to hit spacebar and pause the video to change your fourths to 20ths and change your fifths to 20ths. Only hit spacebar to resume when you're done doing that. This is what it'll look like. As you've noticed, I've created 20ths. This line right here is the same, so it's going to be easy for me to count it. I want to know how many fifths, which is right here, are going to fit. That a fifth is 4/20ths. So if I were to rewrite this problem, 15/20ths is the same as 3/4 and 4/20ths. So I want to know how many 4/20ths fit into my 24. How many 4/20ths fit into my 15/20ths? So how many 4s fit into the 15? Well, if I were to rewrite that, I'm going to end up with 3. That gets me to 12 and 3/4. So if you're to look, that's 1 of them. That's 2 of them. That's 3 of them, and my drawing's a little further up. And I have the 3 left over. So if I were to go ahead and do it, here we go. Fifth, 1, 2, 3, and there's the 1, 2, 3 that are left over that I would need. All right, you can move to, thanks for listening today, and you're going to move to the next station.